Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to a course. What is it a course in? It's a course in miracles. What's a course in miracles? It's a course in right thinking. It's a course in how to see things in such a way that you will not lose your peace. It's how you can correct your perception of that situation that you're dealing with right now. And I know there's a situation that you're dealing with right now. And we're going to hear how we can handle that in such a way that we don't lose our minds and we don't go crazy. So we are going to hear about how we can be liberated today and how we can have freedom today. So I'd like to start out with saying to you, well, first thing I'd like to say is, hey, miracle workers, you're a miracle worker. If you're going to be a voice for peace and a voice for innocence and a voice for truth in this world, you're a miracle worker. And so I want to say hello. This is the Holy Spirit. I'm the Holy Spirit disguised as me. I'm the Holy Spirit disguised as me, pretending to be you. So let's face it, we're all pretending to be separate people, while secretly being just one glorious light. We're really just one being, but we're busy pretending that we're separate people. And what the Course in Miracles keeps bringing home is the problem that we have is that belief that we are separate people. So what do we need to do in order to get ourselves into a place of more love and peace? We just need to remember that you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. You don't have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you might actively resist. Some of these ideas you will find hard to believe. And some of these ideas might be quite startling. So you're not being asked to judge the ideas at all. It's the use of the ideas that's going to give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. The use of the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Using the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that they're true. That I say using the ideas, using the ideas will give the ideas meaning and will show you that the ideas are true. I want to thank you all that are online. I see all those hearts. I appreciate all that love, and I'm shooting that love right back to you. Absolutely. So we're going to be on we're going to be in lesson 58. We're going to be on page 96 in the Course in Miracles workbook. In the Course in Miracles workbook is 3 books in one, a text, a workbook, and a teacher's manual. And we're going to be in the workbook part of the book. We're going to be on page 96. Page 96 in the Course in Miracles workbook. We're going to be doing lesson 58, and we are going to go over that one today. I'm looking forward to diving into it, and I want you to trust me. This lesson is a powerhouse. This lesson is an absolute powerhouse, and so we're going to go through that. We're going to review 5 ideas. And these are going to be 5 ideas that are about holiness. And when I say the word holiness, sometimes they can sound like we're talking about monks that are chanting on mountaintops. When we hear the word holiness, when I first got into the Course in Miracles, and it would say the word holy or holiness, that would be one of the words that I would draw the biggest blanks on, was when I would hear the word holiness. Because I would think about the traditional ideas of holiness that I had learned. But the Course in Miracles says that one of the terms for holiness is innocence. One of the terms for holiness is sinlessness. A holy thought is a loving thought. A holy thought is a loving thought. A holy thought is a thought of innocence. Holiness is a thought of innocence. It is the most powerful thought that you can give yourself in the Course in Miracles. It's a thought of sinlessness, a thought of guiltlessness, and a thought of innocence. Now, why is that true? Because the Course in Miracles teaches that our thoughts are creative. We see our thoughts projected and manifested in front of us, And we are experiencing in this world a reflection of our own image of ourselves. So if you are coming from a place of you're guilty, or that you're bad, or that you're sinful, or that you're not enough, or that you're separate from love, and that you're separate from God, these are all ideas and these are all thoughts. And all of these ideas and all of these thoughts are going to get validated in your day-to-day experience, because the outer is a reflection of the inner. So the outer is a reflection of the thoughts that you have about yourself. So some of those thoughts are thoughts that are loving thoughts. Some of those thoughts are thoughts that are not so loving. So what we want to realize is that the Course in Miracles is not just practical. The Course in Miracles is super practical. So that means holiness, which is recognizing your innocence, that's your superpower. So the Course is not a fancy religious study. The Course in Miracles is not a fancy religious study. The Course in Miracles is getting you in touch with how you can be super practical, and also how you can understand that your holiness is your superpower. So that's the same as saying your innocence is your superpower. Your innocence is your superpower. So that's our goals today. Our goal today is to make holiness practical and to make holiness real. So the first thing we want to do today is make the idea of innocence practical and make the idea of innocence real. Now, one of the things that I want to really do in my Course in Miracles classes is really support those, especially who are actually studying the Course. So one of the best ways to study the Course and get the most out of the Course is for you to work with the Course in Miracles book. So that's why, even though I've been doing this over 40 years, you always see me teach out of the book, because I have worked with too many people. It's very easy when you are not focused in for your ego to take you out and to get you to zone out on what you're hearing. So our goal today, so what is going to be our goal today? Our goal today is going to be to make the idea of your innocence, which is your holiness, we're going to make that idea practical, and we're going to make that idea real. So we also want to laugh a little and have a good time, because God's not serious. God's not serious. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles teaches that the way we got into the world of fear and separation in the first place was that we forgot to laugh. That we have forgotten to laugh, and sometimes we take it all too seriously, and that's the mistake. So the first thing we want to do is to laugh a little. We want to walk out of here today, and we want to walk out here today feeling more powerful and feeling more peaceful than when we came in or when we tuned in. So that's our goal, to make the idea of holiness and our innocence practical, and also to let ourselves just chill out and appreciate each other and laugh a little. And also we want to walk out of this experience feeling a lot more powerful, peaceful than when we first came in. So if that sounds good for you, let's jump into it. We're going to be on page 96. We're going to be lesson 58 in the Course in Miracles workbook. That's what we're going to be in. So the first idea that we're going to focus in on out of the review, the first idea is going to be, my holiness envelops everything I see. Your holiness envelops everything you see. Now, I want you to substitute the word innocence for the word holiness, because the Course in Miracles says holiness means innocence, means sinless, means loving. So I want you to say to yourself, my innocence envelops everything I see. My innocence envelops everything I see. My innocence envelops everything I see. Your innocence envelops everything you see. Page 96, lesson 58 in the workbook. So I want you to picture that, let's say you walk into a Starbucks and there's a really long line, and the person that's serving you is moving a lot slower than like a snail texting on the flip phone. They're just going, that's how slow they're going. So now your old thinking might have been, this is really annoying. I've been standing up here so long, I don't know what to do. I'm really upset. I need to get out of here, and this is happening. This is taking too long. So what would you do? Well, in Course in Miracles thinking, you would say, my holiness envelops everything I see, including this server, including the coffee beans, including the person with that really complicated oat milk quad shot half calf order that's in front of me. Holiness is like Wi-Fi. Holiness is like Wi-Fi. It's everywhere, and it's invisible. So you can't see holiness in the sense of like a physical way, but it's there and it's wrapping everything in light. So I want you to think of one annoying or think of one ugly thing that you've seen lately. I want you to think about some annoying thing that you have experienced. I know it'll be hard. I know it's going to be hard for you to find something that's annoyed you lately, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And so I want you to think of one annoying or ugly thing that you've seen lately, and can you imagine your innocence enveloping it? Can you imagine your holiness enveloping it even for a second? Whether it was something that you see happening in the world, on the political scene, whether it's something happening in relationship or health or finances, whatever, anything that you have been annoyed about, anything that you've been feeling upset about, I want you to imagine that your innocence is surrounding it. Because whether a person knows it or not, according to the Course, if they feel sick, that's coming from an unconscious guilt. If they see themselves as going through some kind of lack, that's coming from an unconscious guilt. If they're in a relationship and that relationship is not giving them peace and they're having challenges in that relationship, it's coming from unconscious guilt. If the way that you're seeing your career or what it is that you're doing in the world, if that's not flowing for you in your perception and you are upset about it, that's coming from some level of unconscious guilt. If you are struggling with your spiritual path and it looks like you're having trouble with it, or it looks like it's not working the way that you like for it to work, that's, according to the Course, that's all related to some level of unconscious guilt. So holiness is another term for innocence. So whenever you see the word holiness, substitute the word innocence or sinlessness or guiltlessness. Because if not, I think the word holiness is just going to be a very abstract term that doesn't have a lot of meaning other than people thinking of it as some kind of priest or something. But that's not the level the Course is talking about it. So you got some situation that you can think about that you know you'd like to see differently right now? Okay, so let's go forward. So if you got the book, I want to show you something about how to read it. So we're going to review number 36 first. And number 36 is my holiness envelops everything I see. So what's the other term that we're going to use for holiness? Innocence. Okay. So my innocence envelops everything I see. You can also say your innocence envelops everything you feel. All your physical perceptions. So what's that first sentence? It says, from my innocence does the perception of the real world come. Think about that. Instead of saying from my holiness does the perception of the real world come, you could say from my innocence does the perception of the real world come. So how do you know when you are seeing through your innocence? Notice the next sentence, it says, having forgiven. So from my forgiveness does the perception of the real world come. From my innocence does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, how can you tell if you've forgiven? It says, well, if you've forgiven, you no longer see yourself as guilty. So if I've really forgiven myself, I don't feel guilt. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't feel guilty. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't feel angry. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't feel angry. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't feel depressed. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't feel sick. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't feel separate. If you've really forgiven yourself, you don't perceive yourself as in lack. So having forgiven yourself, you no longer see yourself as guilty. Notice what's the next sentence. It says, well, I can accept what's the next word? The innocence that is the truth about me. So now you see where the connection between holiness and innocence happens. Okay, so if I see myself as innocent, he says, I can accept the innocence. What is innocence? It's the truth about you. So what do I get a chance to do every Sunday to those who are watching online and those who are in the room? I get a chance to remind you of your innocence. Now, if I was telling you that you were guilty and sinful and going to hell, I probably have a turnaway crowd here today, because people are much more supportive of going to religious, spiritual gatherings that tell them that they're sinful and that they're guilty and that they're going to hell one day if they don't get things right. So why is it that people would be more attracted to a class that teaches them that they're guilty than they would be attracted to a class that's teaching them that they're innocent? Because they believe they're guilty and they don't believe they're innocent. So the minister or the teacher that's telling them that they're guilty and they may be going to hell sounds like he's telling them the truth, because they already feel guilty. So it's like the minister is telling me the truth, and then I've got to do repentance for what I think I've done, or in most cases think that I need to be punished. So when you're telling people stuff that they already believe, then they feel like they can trust you. When you're saying things that's the opposite of what they believe about themselves, then they have a tendency to think that you might have some kind of agenda, or you're trying to deceive them, or you're trying to trick them in some way. So I'm here to be a minister or a messenger. The Course says a minister is a messenger. So I'm here to be a messenger of the Course and to deliver another message that's just the opposite of the message that you're guilty and that you're sinful. We already know what happens when you believe that you are born in sin or that you're guilty. What happens when you have a deep belief in guilt is a world of violence, attack, separation, sickness, chaos. So the Course is saying, well, you already know what happens when you believe you're guilty or sinful, because most of the people believe that. And so we see the experience that we're having. That makes sense to me, right? So then the Course turns around and says, okay, then what you want to do is you want to go in the directly opposite direction. So that's why it says you need to focus on that your innocence is enveloping everything you see, because it says, from my holiness, which is my innocence, does the perception of the real world come. So if I want to see the real world, which is a world of love and a world of peace, you've got to let go of the idea that feeling guilty is somehow going to make your life better. We got to learn, the Course teaches us how to let go of the belief in feeling guilty as a solution. Because when you make yourself feel guilty, then you won't see the perception of the real world, which is the world of love. So it says, well, what do? It says, well, I can accept the innocence that's the truth about me, seeing through understanding eyes. What kind of eyes? Understanding eyes. The innocence of the world is all I see. If I'm looking through understanding eyes, then your innocence is all I see. So if I'm upset with you, and I'm thinking of you in terms of guilt, or I'm thinking of you in terms of anger, then the Course has just told me I don't understand whatever I'm seeing. If I'm angry, if I feel like I'm looking at guilt, then I'm not looking at the world through understanding eyes, because seeing through understanding eyes, the innocence of the world is all I see. Now, one of the things in my personal study that I've really been working on with the Course is telling the truth about my ego. So what does that mean? Okay, I don't see a world of unconditional love yet. Do you see a world of unconditional love? Okay, then according to this, then I'm not seeing through the eyes of innocence yet, right? Then it says, if I've forgiven myself, I no longer see myself as guilty. Okay, do you still have any areas that you see yourself as guilty, or that you, okay, then you just go, Oh, okay, I haven't completely forgiven myself yet, which means I haven't seen myself correctly yet. What would seeing myself correctly look like? Well, it would look like I was seeing myself as innocent. That's what forgiveness means. It means I'm seeing myself as innocent. Do you know that sometimes we fool ourselves and deceive ourselves about where we really are? Y'all ever notice that? Right? Do you notice that if you study the course, it's very difficult? Because if I forgive myself, that means I no longer see myself as guilty. If I forgive you, it means I no longer see you as guilty. Then the truth is, I haven't forgiven myself if I'm still seeing everybody else around me as guilty. What does that mean? I haven't seen myself correctly. That's what forgiveness is. Correct perception. Forgiveness means correct perception. Forgiveness means true perception. So when you forgive someone, you are looking at them correctly. And if you're looking at them correctly, what you're doing is you're seeing them as if they are not guilty. So forgiveness is eliminating looking at yourself or somebody else as guilty. So seeing through understanding eyes, the innocence of the world is all I see, because I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. Okay, so does that mean that everything I think about my friends and my relatives, those are thoughts that I have about myself? Right. The world is going to reflect what I think about myself. Now, I used to think that meant that I needed to try to change the people around me in order for me to be happy. Now, what the Course has told me that that's the hard way, that the easiest way for me to see the innocence in everybody around me would be for me to hold that picture about myself. It's going to be a reflection of how I see myself. So the most important thing I can do is, rather than trying to change my children, my friends, my relatives, my boss, anything out there, the quickest and the easiest way to be in a world that you're surrounded by love, and the easiest way to be in a world that you're surrounded by abundance, the easiest way would be for you to hold thoughts about yourself that you're innocent, even if you don't believe it. I'm going to add that to it. Something can be true about you without you believing it. So if it's true about you, it's that way whether you believe it or not. See, that makes me feel good. You all are innocent. I don't care what you think about whether you're innocent or not. You are innocent. I don't care what you think happened in the past. That I don't have to hear your story to know that you're innocent. That's what you are. Do I see it all the time? No, right? So what is the process that the Course in Miracles is doing? It's teaching us how to remove those blocks, those thoughts that keep us from recognizing that we are innocent, that we are loving. Because the minute you see yourself as innocent, for real, you're going to find that your perception of all your problems is going to start to disappear. And you're going to find that solutions are going to start showing up in situations in your life that you've been troubled with for I don't know how long. But most people don't know that what's causing their conflict and their pain is the fact that they don't hold a picture of themselves as being holy, which is innocent. And so then you say, my innocence envelops everything I see. So that means, which leads to the next one, which is, my holiness blesses the world. My innocence blesses the world. My innocence blesses the world. My holiness envelops everything I see. My innocence blesses the world. So, okay, then that means that this is confession time. How many of you have ever felt like you didn't have anything to offer to the world? Right? Well, this is what happens. Your presence, just being in your presence, is another hard one to believe. If a person was to think the way the Course is teaching them to think, or the way wisdom text teaches them to think, even if it's not just the Course, if they start thinking in terms of their innocence, thinking in terms of I'm one instead of I'm separate, start to think that I'm responsible for what I see instead of I'm a victim of what I see, that you would be fulfilling your function for being on the planet. And so what would happen is, the Course says, you would be given what you need to stay. The Spirit knows that you think that you need money. And so you would be given the money that you need would come to you if you are fulfilling your function. And your function is to walk around and believe that people are innocent or want to acknowledge their innocence, their holiness, even if they don't believe it, even if you don't believe it, you are willing to acknowledge that it's there. It's hard for people to believe that if they were to do that, they would start to see miracles in their life. But until you do it, how do you know it wouldn't work? See, so the challenge being a teacher of the Course that I've noticed is that the Course in Miracles requires less than any other teaching that I've ever studied. I haven't ever studied another spiritual teaching that required less of me than the Course in Miracles does. So my point is, if you get in the habit of saying these, even if you don't believe it, that's still a sign of you having a little bit of willingness to have Spirit's truth actualized in your life. So you're saying the lesson, it's not so much about, do you believe that your holiness envelops everything you see? It's, are you willing to say my holiness blesses everything I see? See the difference? That's all the Course is doing. It's just saying, would you be willing to say this? And then it goes on to lesson 37. Then it's talking about your presence blesses the people that you meet, but your presence also blesses the places that you go. And your presence also blesses the conversations that you have. So you smile at a stranger, you're blessing them. If you silently forgive someone, you're blessing the world. Now, remember what I said, forgive. I'm going to keep repeating that when I said forgive, I'm not talking about overlooking what someone has done to you because you are trying to be more spiritual and on a high level of consciousness. I'm not talking about forgiving someone for something you think they've done to you in the past. To forgive them is to be willing to see them correctly, and to see them correctly according to our lesson today would be for me to acknowledge what about them? That somewhere in them there is innocence. Even if I don't see it, even if I don't feel it, it doesn't change that truth. So why do I want to do it? Not because I'm this holy being all of a sudden. It's because the world that I'm going to live in is going to be a world that's a picture of myself. And I want to be in a world that's full of peace and love and abundance and safety and joy. I'm in a crazy world right now that looks like everybody's screaming for love and they're confused and they feel separate and they feel different. And you can see it. There's a lot of fear going on right now because there's so much love coming into the world. There's so much light and so much love coming into the world right now that's bringing up all the insanity to be released. So people who don't know that, they think the world's going to hell in a handbasket. But what's really happening is that there's a great awakening going on. And the people who are going to have the easiest time of it is going to be people who are walking around doing what their spiritual guidance is saying. My spiritual guidance and your spiritual guidance is saying, say my holiness envelops everything I see. My innocence blesses the world. Because when you see things and you're looking for and you're acknowledging innocence, then you're not just blessing yourself alone. The truth is, everyone and everything I see, that is right there on the page. Everyone and everything I see in the light of my innocence shares in the joy that the innocence brings to me. Everyone and everything I see in this light shares the joy that it brings to me. Now, what does that mean? if I'm feeling happy, then you all are going to benefit from it. That if I have joy that's coming to me, then I'm going to be more joyful for you to be around. If you have more joy that's coming to you, then you're going to be more joyful to be around. So your joy is bringing joy to me. Your happiness is bringing. Have you ever had a situation where somebody was happy and it made you happy just because they were so happy? You know, yes. you shared the goal. That's what the Course is saying. Everyone and everything I see in the light of my innocence shares in the joy that it's going to bring to me. So I'm going to say something to you that's easier. So that's why I always tell people to listen to the class over and over again, because you're being willing to make sure that you are happy and that you're focusing on protecting your own innocence above everything else is easier for you than trying to change someone else. You're going to hear me repeat that over and over again, because the world that you live in is going to be a reflection of the picture that you hold about yourself. So how do you get to that place where you have abundance all around you? You recognize that your number one priority is to recognize that you're not guilty and you're not bad. To recognize that whenever you feel innocent, it doesn't just bless you by yourself. The fact that you are having more happiness in your life and more joy in your life is going to bring more joy to everybody else around you. The other thing to recognize is there is nothing that's apart from this joy, because there is nothing that doesn't share your innocence. Now, what does that mean? That means that if I'm innocent, you're innocent. If I'm innocent, you're innocent. If I'm innocent, you're innocent. Now, you may not know you're innocent any more than I knew I was innocent. So my friends might not know that they have an innocent part of them. My family might not know that they're totally innocent. They may think they're guilty. They may think they're sinful. The people that's walking up and down the street, they may not have any idea that they're innocent and not guilty. But the truth is, there's nothing that doesn't share your innocence. So if you recognize that, and that becomes your picture of yourself, then your world is going to reflect back to you the picture you have about yourself, and you will bring out the innocent, sane part of that person quicker than you'll be bringing out the insane, crazy part of that person, and it'll freak you out. The same person that somebody else is saying is the most horrible person in the world that they can't get along with, you'll find that for some reason they're not being that way with you at all. Haven't you had that happen before? That some people that look like they giving everybody else hell, when you're around them, they're not doing that at all. But you don't realize that's because that's the frequency, that's the channel that you're tuning into on the television set. Each of us got all channels. Each person tunes in to different channels depending on how they see themselves. So that's why it looks like sometimes some people bring out the highest in you and other people seem like they bring out the lowest in you. It's because at some level, you're reflecting back to them the picture that they have of themselves. And you are also at some level getting reflected back to you a picture that you have of yourself. So if I really want to get along with my coworkers, I need to get along with myself. If I really want to have what I perceive as abundance, then I need to do what I'm being told, which is to be in the world but not of the world, because I don't think like everybody else in the world does. So your job is to be here, but don't think like nobody thinks here who believes in fear and separation and guilt and that they're a body and that they're alone and that they don't have a higher power with them. Everybody that thinks like that are going to be the ones who end up having to struggle a lot, because their world is going to be a picture of their idea about themselves. And their idea about themselves is, I'm autonomous, I'm on my own, I got to do it by myself, there is no higher power, I've got to make it all happen. And guess what? It's everybody else's fault that it's not happening. You see what I mean? So your job is to be in the world and not agreeing with none of that. But you don't necessarily have to say it out loud, because the more you wake up spiritually, the more you realize you want to bypass people's ego anyway, their personality, and just acknowledge the part of them that's behind the personality. So you actually correct people less than ever before. I correct people less than ever before. Why? Because I no longer think that your ego is you, so I don't even deal with your ego as much as I can. Because your ego isn't you. The you that's sitting up there today, 6 months from now, be another you. And you'll say the one sitting up here now is the one that's not real. So since I know you're going to do that and I'm going to do that, then it doesn't matter about our personalities or correcting the personality. What I need to do is to recognize that as I recognize my innocence, so does the innocence of the world shine forth for everyone to see. Okay? All right. So I want to be safe in the world. Things right now are very intense. The Course just told me how I could have safety in the world. I'll say it again. As I recognize my holiness, so does the holiness of the world shine forth from everyone I see. So I would like to see some love and some good juiciness and some fun and some safety and some healing coming from people that I see. So how do I do that? As I recognize my innocence, then the innocence of the world shines back. Okay, so what I used to do for my specialness was I would see myself as being this really good, loving person that was getting upset about the selfishness and the callousness of people in the world. I would be this really cool guy, and if the world would change, then I'd be happy. If everybody just was different, then because I'm cool, right? So what is that telling me? Well, the reason, Earl, that you're not seeing the innocence of the world or the innocence of that person shining back at you is you're not recognizing your innocence. I'm not ready. Okay, then I go, oh, okay, I've been having a particularly rough week. So what I need to do is I really need to focus in on that I'm not guilty and focus in on my innocence. What the old Earl would have been, what kind of arrangement can I make with the physical world that I can change this person or this situation or circumstance so that things will go the way I want them to go, and then I'll feel happy. See, the old Earl would have said that before he got into this. Now I'm going, man, that was a hellified day today I had. But I forgot my innocence today. I didn't realize that I was the holy child of God today. Notice I put it all back on my perception. I didn't try to figure out how I need to talk to that person who upset me. That's not what I'm focused in on anymore. Because if my goal is innocence, then I already know how to talk to that person. I already know what attitude to have with that person that I got the upset with. I'm going to go into that conversation with the attitude of, I want to acknowledge that there may be some sliver of innocence in them somewhere that's possibly there and that is there, whether I think so or not. See, you got to keep saying whether you think so or not, or you get trapped. Because as soon as you make it only true if you believe it, and you know you don't friggin' believe it, or you wouldn't be upset in the first place. So to make your belief mandatory for you to be able to practice the truth slows you down. What speeds you up is to go, the God, Spirit, the Course has told me that everybody around me are holy and that they're innocent. So my teacher has told me everybody's innocent. I just don't see it. It's okay for me to admit that I just don't see it. Guess why I just don't see it? Because I don't see it in myself. Notice I didn't say I just don't see it because they need to be different. I said I just don't see it because I don't see it in myself. Okay. So then what becomes the purpose of your friendships and your personal relationships? The purpose becomes to recognize and validate the innocence in each other as much as you possibly can. I couldn't imagine getting in a special love relationship with someone who used guilt as a way to manipulate and to get people to do what they want them to do, which I used to do. In other words, this is a person who's judging me, criticizing me, reminding me that I'm guilty, that I'm not innocent, and that I'm not enough. It is no way in the hell or the heaven I would be in an intimate relationship with a person like that now at this stage in my life. Because they are the greatest delay-in maneuvers you can ever give yourself, is to be in a relationship with a person that doesn't love you, doesn't appreciate you, doesn't remind you of who you really are, and takes you for granted. There's no way you're going to be in a relationship like that if you're beginning to accept your own innocence. So you don't have to worry about it. If you start to accept your innocence, it's going to put you on a frequency and a vibration that people who want to keep drama and guilt and anger going on all the time, they will be repelled by you. The law of attraction, they will not come, they will drop out of your life. Why? Because my perception of myself has changed, which leads us to the next line, which is what? There is nothing my innocence cannot do. What? See, the Holy Spirit is basically saying to you, hey, superstar, your innocence makes the world better just because you exist. What? Yeah, just because you exist, you make the world better. Just because you exist, you heal things. Just because you exist, you make the world better. Let me give you an example. The sun. The sun is just being the sun. The sun didn't get up this morning and say, hey, I really want to shine really good for Earl. The sun is just doing its thing, right? And so the sun doing its thing, just existing, is serving its purpose. It's giving us the heat, that's giving us the plants that we need growing, and everything that's happening. But the sun isn't going, I'm doing this especially for the earth, as far as we know. So the Course is saying, you all need to take the same attitude. You exist, that's enough. Well, yeah, you deserve to have happiness because you exist. You deserve to be loved because you exist. You deserve to be taken care of because you exist. You deserve to have safety because you exist. You are worthy because you exist. There's nothing you have to do to establish your value. If you're trying to establish your value to somebody else, then you're missing the whole point, which is different from saying, I am innocent, but I've forgotten it. I'm innocent, but I taught myself that I'm guilty. I'm innocent, but I need to learn how to see things another way. So whenever I say I'm ready to see my innocence, now I'm ready to have the world love me up. Now I'm ready to have the world support me and nurture me. But when I go, you need to be different, and then I'm saved, and then I'm happy, then that's going to keep the guilt going. Because now I am taking the power away from me again, and I'm putting it on you. Okay? So he says, there is nothing my innocence cannot do. And like I say, if you got some good juicy questions, hang on to them. So that, we can, when we have our 20-minute discussion afterwards, I'll be glad to answer. So here you go. There's nothing my innocence cannot do. There's nothing my innocence cannot do. There's nothing my innocence cannot do. Your holiness blesses the world even when your hair looks like a science experiment. Okay? So it don't have nothing to do with the way you look, the way you dress, the house you live in, the car you drive, nothing like that. Wait a minute, you've gone too far. You mean even if my hair needs fixing, I'm still innocent? Yeah, especially when your hair needs fixing. For those of you who still have those issues. When I first came here, I had hair down to my shoulders and down to my neck. And I had really long hair for about 10 years or so. And I was just driving down the street, driving down Colfax. And I'm sure you've had that experience where it just hit me. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna get my hair cut off, right? And so I did it immediately. I honored what I felt like, and since I pictured myself okay with doing that, that was the overwhelming reaction that I got from everybody around me, even if they didn't recognize me at first, when they first came in. Because when you are really moved spiritually and it's time for you to do something, you do it. And you do it. You don't procrastinate, and then you don't beat yourself up afterwards. Because really, my innocence had nothing to do with the length of my hair. So my innocence is unlimited in its power to what? Heal. because my innocence is unlimited in its power to save. So your innocence is unlimited in its power to heal, because your innocence is unlimited in its power to save. But what is it that you need to be saved from? What is it that you need to be saved from? You need to be saved from illusions. So what are illusions? I need to be saved from false ideas. The Course in Miracles says an illusion is simply a false idea. So I need to be saved from my false ideas. What is the main false idea that we need to be saved from? The main false idea that we need to be saved from is the idea that we're separate from God. That's the main idea that we need to be saved. That's the main false idea that we need to let go of, is that I'm separate from the universe, that I'm separate from God, that I'm separate from love. And that's what he says. What is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are illusions? Notice, what did it say? False ideas about myself. So when you study in the Course, it always gives you the definitions of whatever it's talking about. So please, I beg you, please stop interpreting the Course in Miracles according to what you think it's saying. Please stop interpreting the Course in Miracles based on what you think it's saying, based on other books you've studied and your past, or trying to fit the Course in Miracles into other paths and other teachers and all that stuff. Let it stand on its own. For a second, just say, I'm going to be willing to let go of the other things that I've learned, and just for a minute, will I let myself just see what the Course in Miracles is saying? Because check it out. It says, what is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are all illusions except false ideas about myself? What did we hear at the beginning of this review? What's the biggest false idea about ourselves? Is that I am separate, that I am guilty, that I am sinful, that I am bad. So when the Course says, what are all illusions except false ideas about myself? Then it says, my holiness, which is my innocence, will undo the false ideas I have about myself. So how do you get rid of all the negative false ideas that you have about yourself? Good question. It's right there in the book. By asserting the truth about me. So I'm going to show you the simplicity of the Course. What's the truth about me? My holiness blesses the world. There's nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness envelops everything I see. All of those things are what? The truth about yourself. So when you're telling yourself the truth about yourself, it dispels the illusions about yourself. What are the illusions? False ideas I have about myself. What are some of the false ideas I have about myself? I'm not loved. I'm separate. I'm sinful. I'm guilty. I'm lacking. I'm sick. I'm not enough. We got a ton of them that we can use. But what happens is that the part of you that believes those things is the part of you that does not want you to do this, because it gets rid of that part of you. And it's used to being in charge. Your ego is used to defining you, and then you acting according to how you have defined yourself. Again, that's why I say, look at this and watch it and listen to it at least 4 times, because I'm saying stuff from the Course in Miracles that's the opposite of what you believe if you see yourself right now being in a world that you don't see the kind of love and support and peace and joy that you think you like to see right now. Because that means my picture of that I'm holding of myself needs to change, not me needing to change everybody around me. They're going to change. Either they're going to change when you change, or you won't even care if they change, because you are so full of peace yourself. Either way, that's a win-win. It's a win-win if nothing that you do bothers me, and I keep my peace. And it's a win-win if you actually change in a way that I think I like and I think I prefer. See what I'm saying? So, what are all illusions except false ideas about myself? My holiness undoes them all by asserting the truth about me. So in the presence of my innocence, which I share with God, then all my idols vanish. So what is an idol? An idol is an illusion. What is an illusion? It's a false idea I have about myself. You know what the Course in Miracles says our biggest idol is? More. More. He said, I don't care if it's more pain, more suffering, more books, more ice cream, more cars. Said, we worship more. We got to always have more. It's got to always be more. And so the Course says that's our idol. But the problem is that you've been given everything. So how could there be anything? How can you get more than everything? But you don't know it. But we just have to have more. As soon as you get in a house, rather than enjoy it just for a minute and go, hey, this is a beautiful place, I'm really going to enjoy it, the ego part of the man goes, and now I want a bigger one. The ego always, which is coming from a place of lack, because I don't think there's anything in my life that is satisfying to me. So I think there's a lack. And so all I'm trying to do is get more. So the Course is telling us, my innocence undoes my false ideas by asserting the truth about me. In the presence of my innocence, which I share with God, all false ideas, all idols vanish. All right. I want to finish these last two ideas. I can't wait to get a chance to thank you in here. Thank you online. Thank you for all the great feedback I've been getting. Thank you, those of you who are really tackling the book and working with the book, and you're saying the things that I'm sharing about it is making it easier. Yeah, I've taught this 45 years, and I really, before I leave, I want to try to make myself as unnecessary as I possibly can. That seems like I've been very good at that as a teacher. I'm enormously successful. I seem to be unnecessary by most of the people I teach. So I'm doing a great job. It's so funny. It's so funny to be in a world and all you say is you deserve love. But people are like, you know, it's funny. It's funny. I know. It's a part of me. They go, oh, wait a minute. You know? So that means my holiness is my salvation, right? So my holiness, which is my innocence, is my what? Salvation. So salvation is another term for forgiveness and healing. So my innocence is my healing. Your innocence is your healing. Even if you got a medical condition and you want to do what you're being told to do outwardly, externally, that's okay. The Course says that's okay. If you knew how to heal yourself, you would have already done it. So it's okay to rely temporarily on outside external methods. It says that right there in the book. But what you want to do is never forget, though, that the cause is mine and that it's coming ultimately from thought. So what do you want to do? I want to recognize my holiness. I want to recognize my innocence. I got a physical condition that I'm dealing with. And I want to do what I'm being told to do by the people I trust in the outer as a symbolic gesture to show that I'm willing to be healed. So that way I got both ends of it covered. I'm going to do what I think I need to do in the world that's trusted to me, because I see if I could heal myself, I would have already done it. So I got to stop jabbing myself and saying I'm going to heal myself of it. If you could heal yourself of it, you would have already done it. So forget that. What you want to do is you want to start to tell yourself the truth, which is my innocence is my salvation. And my innocence is my healing. So don't feel guilty about being sick. Don't feel guilty about the medical condition. Don't feel guilty about whatever the condition is. You're still innocent. So you want to tell yourself, my innocence is my salvation, and I'm going to do the symbolic gestures in the world that I feel would represent my willingness to be healed. So I go to a doctor I trust, then I'm going to do what the doctor says. Or if I'm a new age person and I just want to do it through energies and frequencies and vibrations and all of that, then I'm going to do that. But the truth is, I know that my real healing is going to come from me recognizing, what about me? I am innocent. I'm guiltless. Do I believe it? No. Because if I did, I wouldn't be sick and unhappy and miserable in the first place. Okay, so I know I need to remind myself of that. And so that leads us to the next part of that, when it says, once I have accepted my innocence, how can you tell? Nothing can make me afraid. What? When I have accepted my innocence, my holiness, nothing, did you say nothing? Yes. Nothing can make me afraid. When I've accepted my holiness, not a thing can make me afraid. And because I am unafraid, everyone must share in my understanding, which is the gift of God to me and to the world. So what is the gift of God to you and to the world?
My innocence. My innocence.
That's right, exactly. That's right. That's right. Because I didn't think I had it, so darn sure it's a gift. This was the gift that I heard today. It was the gift. And do you sometimes get gifts that you don't even feel like you deserve the gift, but you still got the gift, right? And the person said you can keep it and you can enjoy it, right? And you do at some point. My point is, you all are innocent, I'm innocent. You all are innocent and I'm innocent. You all are innocent and I'm innocent. That's a gift of God to you and to me. Our Creator is saying, you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. That's why you're miserable. That's why you're unhappy. You got it all wrong. You're innocent, but you think you're not. How do I know you think you're not? Because you have a lot of fear. Because you don't feel safe. Because you're still blaming other people. Then you're still blaming yourself. So you got to give up blame. You got to blame you, and you can't blame anybody else. You can't blame you, but you also can't blame anybody else. And don't take the blame off of other people and put it on you. Don't take the blame off of other people and put it on you. There's a tendency for people, when they start to try to let go of the idea of blaming other people, is to start to put all the blame on themselves and somehow think that's them taking responsibility. You got to let blame go, period. Taking responsibility makes you feel light. Blaming yourself makes you feel heavy and unhappy. And that's how you can tell the difference between when you're taking responsibility and when you're not. If you're taking responsibility, you feel like you're not trapped. You feel like you got options. You feel like there's a way out. Because I'm creating it, so I can change it. So that should make a sane person happy, to feel like they're not trapped because they could change their mind and change their whole life and change their whole situation. But if you say that to somebody and they get all depressed, then they're doing blame. They're attacking themselves and they're judging themselves for not having made a better life for themselves. But they think that's taking responsibility, but it's an attack upon yourself. So that leads us to the last one, which is, I'm blessed as a son of God. I am blessed as a child of love. I'm blessed as an extension of love. I'm blessed as a mind of love. I'm giving you different terms that the Course in Miracles uses. I'm blessed as a son of God is the same as saying I'm blessed as a mind of love. The son means mind. Son means the one creation. So I'm blessed as the one creation of God. I'm blessed as the one creation of love. That's your claim to all good and only good. Okay, I need you all's help, because what happens is I read this and I hear this and it seems really clear while I'm hearing it. And if I don't stay committed and dedicated, I forget it. I literally would be tempted to forget everything that I heard today. Because when we start focusing on it together, the curtain, and the Course calls it the veil. The veil drops back down, and all of a sudden we're right back into our old regular people thinking. And it makes sense, though, because that's all you're hearing and all you're seeing pretty much on everything. So it makes sense to me. the fact that we remember any of this at any time, but the fact that you all ever even remember you ever came here is amazing. It's amazing to me, because if you can forget what the Course is saying, you can certainly forget the person who said it to you. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there are people that literally don't remember that they ever came here, or that they ever met me, or that they ever saw this. And but that's okay, because whoever came was sent that particular day, and they needed to hear whatever they heard. And when you get on your right mind and your innocent mind, then your higher self sends you the people who need you just the way you are. So your relationships become a lot easier, because the people who come into your life, they won't try to change you. They'll be appreciating you for the way you are, and in ways that you're benefiting them just being the way you are. And what's the way you are? You are innocent. In other words, when I come to you, and my goal is to support you in loving yourself as you are, provided you are not trying to physically attack anybody, then I am blessing you, and I'm reminding you of your innocence. Makes you feel better about yourself, right? So your picture of yourself becomes, I'm a pretty cool person, right? So that's my picture that I'm holding of myself. And it's just so then I start pulling that out of my world. All of a sudden, I start getting that validation coming back through more and more people around me, especially you start to see it extending out to strangers. So first, you start to see the people around you that you know relating to you from a more innocent way. And then you start to see your experience of strangers start to be much kinder than the ones that, I get ready to pull out in traffic now. Not only do people stop to let me out, it can be 2 lanes over and they stop. And not just the lane right in front of me, but the other one too. But then I hear other people go, Denver, I hate Denver, and I hate blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that is not my experience of Denver. Denver, for me, for the past 25 years, has been the most loving, supportive, kind people and experiences that I've ever had in my life. And I can talk to somebody else and they hate Denver. And they don't realize, well, you're getting exactly what you're expecting to receive. You're looking at them as guilty, and you're guilty too. You're all pissed off and angry. And so you draw that out of people, and then you're wondering why you're surrounded by that. You don't recognize you're blessed as a child of God, right? And then it says, herein lies my claim to all good. And what else? Only good. Did it say good and bad? No, it said, here lies my claim to all good and only good. What is your claim? My claim is to say, I'm blessed as God's child. I'm blessed as love's child. I'm a love child. I am truly a love child. I'm a love child. You are blessed as a love child. So what does that mean? All good things are mine. All good relationships are mine. All good abundance is mine. All peace is mine. All freedom is mine. All safety is mine. All spirit is mine. That's what it means when you say, I'm blessed as a child of God. You're saying all good things are mine. I'm going to claim all good and only good, and all good things are mine. Why? Why are all good things yours?
Because God intended them for me.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to teach out of the book, y'all. I'm going to teach out of the book. Because if I can motivate you to want to study this for yourself, I have done as much as a teacher can do. The Course in Miracles taught me that a good teacher is a good motivator. A good teacher isn't somebody that can make you immediately get everything that they're teaching. If I say something today that would make you walk out of here today and want to change yourself to recognize your innocence more, now Earl has been very successful as a teacher. It's not whether or not you can explain the Course in Miracles to all your friends when you walk out the room. It would be, would I be willing to now study this lesson on my own and remember how I can bring only good to myself? Because today we were told how to have good and only good. which is to say, I'm blessed as a son of God, which is I'm blessed as a child of love. That's my claim to all good and only good. Then say, I'm blessed as a child of love. Then say, all good things are mine. You are good things, so you're mine. All good things are mine. Then it says, why are all good things for you? Not because you earned it, not because of your degree, not because of how good you've been, not because of how much you've learned. You deserve all good things. You deserve all good things. You deserve all good things because God, your creator, intended all good things for you. That's why I cannot suffer any loss you cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who you are. Wait a minute. Sometimes I do seem like I go through loss. Sometimes it seems like I do experience deprivation. I had pain just this morning. Before coming over here, I was trying to convince myself I was a body. And I use pleasure and pain to do that. Because when I go through pleasure, pain, I identify with my body. I absolutely am tempted to think that's what I am when I go through pleasure and when I go through pain. So what did that just tell me? Who I really am, who you really are, who you really are, who you really are, not the fake self. The fake self does appear to suffer, the ego. The fake self does seem like it goes through loss. And the fake self does seem like it goes through deprivation and pain. But who we really are, as God created us, as love created us, we can't suffer loss, deprivation, or pain. So I need to get back to who I really am. Evidently, I'm not who I really think I am, because it looks like I've gone through loss before, and it looks like I've been deprived sometimes, and it looks like I felt like I had pain in the body today, right? So instead of fighting this, I go, well, this whole lesson has told me how to get rid of all of that pain, suffering, and loss because of who I am. Who are you? You're holy. Because you're innocent and you're holy. That's how you begin to undermine any ideas, false ideas, illusions that create loss, deprivation, or pain. So just understand, we think our salvation comes from a new job. We think our salvation comes from a perfect relationship. We think our salvation sometimes comes from a bigger bank account. But our true salvation comes from recognizing who we really are and then being around people who won't let us forget how loved and how precious we really are. Now, you're going to be tempted to get them out your life until you believe it more. You're going to be tempted to doubt them. You're going to be tempted not to give them as much attention as the people who criticize, judge you, and give you hell. At first, you're going to find that there's more of an attraction to the people who are not reflecting the truth than the people who are, because again, if I don't love myself the way I should, I'm going to think the people that's mistreating me or not appreciating me are reflecting back to me a more honest representation of what I think I am. So I'll be attracted to them. And someone is telling me I'm innocent, I'm loved, I'm blessed as a child of God. Then if I don't believe it, I'm going to go, oh, that's just a bunch of crap. What is it you're trying to get? I'm suspicious of you. That's because that's not the picture I hold of myself yet. So that's why I'm supposed to say these things, because the way that you get an idea to manifest, the way you get ideas to manifest is to share them. The more you share an idea, and the more people who share that idea, the stronger that idea becomes. So that's why you talk about you're innocent and you're blessed. And I remind you that your holiness blesses the world. Because these are ideas that are weak, that need to be strengthened by us saying it to each other and by saying it to ourselves. All right, I'm going to stop here. We went through all of that. I love this. So what does your holiness save you from? It saves you from guilt. It saves you from fear. And most of all, it saves you from an endless loop of self-criticism. Your mistakes do not define you. My holiness is my salvation, and it's cheaper than therapy. That's the truth. So I'm going to pass this around for those who want to share and do it in the regular way. And those of you who want to support my teaching ministry, and I appreciate that as a full-time teacher, you can use Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, and Square. And you can go to my website. Go to my new website, earlpurdy.com, www.earlpurdy.com. Find out what I'm doing. Find out what's happening. Sign up for the contact list, because I send out a weekly newsletter, and it includes a lot of times stuff, even including what's happening within the astrological side of things too. The Holy Spirit communicates to us and teaches us through everything we do. So you don't have to stop the things that you love to do in the world to practice the Course in Miracles. The Holy Spirit, the higher power, uses whatever you've made, whatever your talents, whatever it is that you have made, is going to be used to free you and to liberate you. So you don't have to run away from your life that you have created right now. Everything. My love of astrology and numerology, which led me to the Course in Miracles, which is based on the idea that we have intentions when we come here, and how could we be helped in knowing how to do that in a way that's the most harmonious way for us. The Course in Miracles didn't say, oh, you get into the Course in Miracles, or you can't do that anymore. It says, oh, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that also to teach you the truth, and teach you how to wake up, and to teach you that you're innocent, and teach you that you're holy. And I'm going to tell you what your gifts and your talents are, so you won't be spending time that you could be actually expressing it, trying to hunt it down to find out what it is. That's the part that's really cool. I saw that with my own grandchildren. I did their charts, and their parents respected what I do and what I had to say, and they steered their kids that way, and their kids are all doing exceptionally well. And they didn't deal with hardly no rebellion, because they were not trying to get their kids to act out their script. They knew what their kids naturally had an inclination and a gift for. We make everything harder than it has to be until we realize we're blessed as children of God. And so that's what I want to say to you today, that you're blessed. You're not a random speck in the universe. Miracles are your birthright. You're not alone, ever. You're not alone, ever. And even if you're in sweatpants watching Netflix, you're not alone, ever. You're blessed as a son of God. And that's why somebody ought to buy you lunch today. So, mighty companions, remember, at least four times. Remember, the name of the game is remembering, not analyzing. It's not about your understanding. Your understanding isn't a powerful contribution to the truth. According to the Course, your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth. It's your remembering what it's saying and applying it to yourself. It's remembering what it's saying and applying it to yourself. It's remembering what it's saying and applying it to yourself. And you're not going to remember something you don't study. You're not going to remember something you don't practice. So remember, there's a connection between memory and being able to actually use the information that you are getting every day. So just know that your innocence is your salvation. You're blessed as a child of God. Your innocence is your salvation. There's nothing your innocence cannot do. And your innocence blesses the world. And your innocence envelops everything you see. So all you have to do now is walk out of here with one idea that you want to pump and remember every kind of way you can today. It's holiness, which is your innocence.